I try the hardest, but I try the hardest to make it sound like we don't try hard. That's like the biggest thing, is like making it seem like it's like a magic trick. It's like making it seem so effortless and just like everything just happens when you want it to. But getting to that point is like hard. It's work.
I'm Tim Malloy with Movie Maker, and today I'm talking with producer Blake Slatkin about his collaboration with Ed Sheeran and John Mayer on Drive, the closing song of Apple's Brad Pitt racing drama F1. For the song, he assembled and played in a supergroup that also included Dave Grohl on drums, Pino Palladino on bass, and Rami Jaffee on keys. He also talks about working with the film's monumental producer, Jerry Bruckheimer, and its director, Joseph Kosinski. You probably know Blake Slatkin's work if you've paid any attention to music in recent years. His recent collaborators have included Justin Bieber, Lizzo, Lil Nas X, Gracie Abrams, Omer Fetty, 24K Golden, The Kid Laroi, and many more. He won a Record of the Year Grammy for Lizzo's About Damn Time, and now he's very much in the Oscar conversation for Drive.
But the past and the past and the day is coming. We can ride four wheels, you and I gotta get out of here. My savior.
How did you become a musician? I know you were about 10 years old when you started playing guitar.
I was 10 years old and I just wanted to be a rock star. And honestly, it was Ed and John, both of their music, who made me pick up a guitar in the first place. They both inspired me, and I used to cover their songs. And I like learned guitar by copying them. And so I wanted to be a rock star, and I used to play on stage and like sell like tickets to my friends, my teachers and stuff, and do little gigs around town. And that was just because I didn't even know what a producer was. And then when I found out what a producer was, and I found out that there were people making all of my favorite music that I didn't even know about, and they were behind the scenes, and they could like switch genres and do this for years and years. It was like the second I even found out what it was like, that's what I'm going to do. There was never anything else I wanted to do.
My second sort of dopey question is, what does a producer do? Because we sort of see ones in music documentaries and things like that, and the impression that I get is you're sort of a therapist, you're like a songwriting partner, you're a curator. I imagine you're handling a lot of the technical side, so the singer doesn't have to worry about that, and they can be more in the emotion of it. But I'm sure there's a lot of things entailed in being a producer, but can you give...
There's a lot, and also I think why I like the job is that my role kind of switches with every artist I work with. I'm a producer, but I'm also a songwriter, and songwriting and production go really hand in hand to me. And to me, it's like I've done songs where I wrote the hook, or songs where I wrote the melodies and then someone else wrote the lyrics. Or I've done songs where I've written none of the melodies because I thought all the melodies that were already there were perfect. It's like in the room, my job is kind of just to be a chameleon. And if I were to make it simple, it's a producer's job to make sure that the best song possible happens. And by any means necessary to get there, it's, whether that's assembling the right group of people, whether that's doing it yourself, whether that's being a therapist to an artist and just having a conversation so meaningful that they end up writing a perfect song all themselves, then I've done my job right. It's always completely different, and it's completely different with every artist I work with. And that's why I love my job, is because no day is the same. I have a session later today where it's going to be completely different than my session on Friday. Yeah. And I love that. I never want to feel like I'm in a routine. And I also always feel like my back's against the wall, being like, holy shit, how am I going to make this work? How am I going to do this? Because I'm always feeling like I'm in a new situation, and I want to keep it that way.
What do you think are the keys to being a good songwriting partner?
It's the same as being a good partner, honestly. It's just listen. You just have to listen, and listening may mean that, it's all putting your ego aside. It's knowing when to not interject. It's knowing when to interject. It's being comfortable enough to say an idea that may suck, because sometimes those are the best ideas, and it's being comfortable, making someone else feel comfortable to say an idea that may suck. And, that sounds like a really simple thing, but when you get in the room with a lot of people, that's why I mostly work with my friends, is because we're all just super comfortable with each other. But when you meet a new person for the first time, especially like a really successful artist or a really successful producer, you're not necessarily like going to be comfortable enough to just say what the first thing that comes to your mind. And that's like the enemy of great things to me. It's like the whole thing is that you should say exactly what your first instinct is. And before your mind gets in the way, you kind of just want to take what's coming down from the channel and let it happen. And if you're in a position where you're not comfortable enough to do that, it's really hard to make great music.
And I mean, a lot of pop songs, people make fun of them as just being dumb or repetitive or something, but they're also incredibly hooky and we like them. I mean,
my thing with pop music is, especially now, there's so much different music, so many different genres. The only thing that makes it pop is that it's popular. Jimi Hendrix was pop music because it was popular. You know what I mean? It's rock and roll, of course, but it's pop. And even if I don't like something, if something, there's hundreds of thousands of songs that come out every single day. If something is special enough to stick around and be on those charts for months and months and months, whether you like it or not, it's amazing. Whether you like it or not, it's genius. You know what I mean? Like, it's a work of genius, because obviously there's something that separates those songs from another song that just comes out and no one hears about it, no one cares about. Not to say that that pop music is the only good music. Obviously, most of my favorite music was never, a Billboard top 100 chart hit. But I think the stance of not liking pop music is not a point. It's not a point to make. It has no merit, really.
Yeah. And some of the stuff that's, the silliest or the lightest is the stuff I love the most. And it's always in my head.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Can you talk about how you got involved in this movie? I know you had a meeting with Jerry Bruckheimer. He showed you the film. You kind of got the adrenaline pumping. But when you have a movie like this, how does the offer come to you and who do you answer to? Like, is there a boss? Is there someone giving you notes or saying faster, slower?
The call originally came from my friends over at Atlantic Records, because they headed the soundtrack, and I've done a lot of work with Atlantic, and they just had me come over and see the movie. And I was like instantly hooked and in and ready. Is there a boss? I would actually say of course there's a boss. There's the people at Atlantic and the people at Apple overseeing the film, and Jerry and Joe. Jerry and Joe are the boss. Like, they oversee the film. Honestly, I would credit the success of the soundtrack with how much they trusted their creatives. They found people that they knew could get it done. And again, back to the enemy of creativity, it's like, if you're going to go into a room with like a bullet point of notes and like things you have to hit and things they want and things they don't want, that's just like doing an assignment. And that's like, you're never going to get something good. But they showed us a movie and said, pick a scene, make a song, and, like come to us with a song. And we had very minimal notes from them. And I think that's just because instead of taking out the work from it, we kind of just got to be purely inspired by it. And we were all so excited going into writing the song for it that it just came out. It just happened.
So you get to call two of your childhood heroes, Ed Sheeran and John Mayer, and you're already working with Ed Sheeran at this point. You're producing his album when this happened?
Yeah, and John as well. But we mostly, honestly, we had just all been friends. Like, it's not like Ed and John have been friends for like a decade. Yeah. And John, Ed and I have had a bunch of dinners together, and we're all texting all the time and hanging out. So it was just an easy, when I saw it alone without them, they were the first people who I thought of. Yeah. And then they saw it and it was just like, boom, let's do it.
When you got in the room with them, what was that songwriting process like? What was your contribution? Did you lay back? Did you jump in with ideas?
I'm trying. The exact way the session happened was, we all saw the movie. We got in. Ed said, "John, give me a rock riff." The first thing John played on guitar was that riff. Then the first thing Ed sang into the little scratch microphone was the verse, and then into the hook. and that's the demo that we came away with just the melodies and some scratch lyrics. Later, Ed and I finished the lyrics. John and I worked on the production. That was just a demo. There was just like a kick drum playing. There was no music on it. So Ed and I kind of went away, fixed some melodies, fixed some lyrics. John fixed some stuff there, like all remotely. and then John and I worked on the music for a while to get it right.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite driving song or a few favorite driving songs that you sort of wanted to emulate or catch the spirit of?
I wouldn't say our reference was, I mean, I think we wanted to catch the spirit of Zeppelin for sure, because Zeppelin opens the movie.
Yeah.
I definitely have favorite driving songs, but I don't think any of those songs were a reference. Yeah. We didn't really honestly have a reference for the song. It was more just like, all the references, which is why honestly I had so much fun making music for film for the first time, was the references were the character. The references was Sonny Hayes. The references were the movie and visual things that we saw and things from the story. That's what really inspired the song the most.
Do you have advice to kids who want to do what you're doing?
Yeah, just be a fan. Be the biggest fan of music. Be a lover of music and work harder than anyone. And it happened. The best advice I was ever given was by my mentor, and he said, you have to think of your career like a snowball, and you just keep packing on and packing on and packing on, and eventually it's big enough that it just has to roll down the hill. And I think that's so true. I think now in music also, you see so many artists that have been doing it for decades that are just now getting their moment. And I think I really am a believer is that if you love the music as much as you can, if you work as hard as you possibly can, even if it happens later than you want to, which I feel like it normally happens later than everyone wants to. Everyone always thinks that they deserve it and they should have it before they actually do. And I think most people who got their moment would say, I'm really happy I got my moment when I did, because I was ready. And I wasn't ready back when I wanted it. So you just got to stick with it. You got to just stay in it.
You mentioned your mentor. Was that Benny Blanco, or are there more mentors?
That was Benny. I have so many mentors, but that was Benny, yeah.
When you got that internship, was that, do you think, your big break?
It was a huge moment in making my big break, for sure. Yeah, it was massive. It's one of the things that I'm most grateful for in my whole life. To be part of that world and learn from Benny, and honestly, just for my friendship with Benny is like the most. It's one of the most special relationships in my life.
I mean, just talking to you, you feel like kind of unflappable and also very humble, like not full of yourself or anything like that. Is that what made you stand out to him, do you think? I mean, there must have been a gigantic pool of people who wanted to work with him.
I don't know if that's what made me stand out. Honestly, we just I kept bothering him, and I finally got an interview with him, and we really just got along really well, and we became really good friends. And now he's just my best friend. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know. But it was really just it was kind of this unspoken thing of we just like each other. We just like being around each other.
And you have to be musically brilliant, but I think that goes without saying.
And honestly, no, because he didn't hear my music until 4 years into working with him. I refused to play it for him. I was like, I just wanted to learn, and he would always ask me to play him my music, and I was always like, it's not ready. And I just wanted to, my music sucked for so long. My music was I still make terrible music like most of the time, and then sometimes I get lucky, and then a great song comes out, and that's then those are the ones that I spend months working on. But back then my music was there were no redeeming qualities at all, but I had to learn. And I learned for so many years. And even when I played it for him, it wasn't great, but he could see that there was signs showing him that it could be great eventually. But he always says that, it wasn't about the music at all, because he had no idea what it sounded like.